Alhamdulillah Rabbil Alameen wassalatu wassalamu ala Sayyidina Muhammad wa alihi wa ashabihi wa zurriyati ajmain. We are going to look at a couple of definitions of knowledge, especially as used in what they call Islamic rational disciplines like mantiq and usul al-fiqh. And we had looked at the definition of Imam Sayyid Sharif al-Jurjani before. This one. So, but recently in Usul al-Fiqh I came across another definition which is related to this definition, but it's also a bit different. So I thought I will just look at that new definition and probably will compare it with Imam Sayyid Sharif Jurjani's definition as well. So these are terminologies related to specific disciplines. These definitions are not necessarily derived from Arabic language as such or from Quran or Sunnah. If you want to look at definitions derived from Quran and Sunnah, definitions derived from Quran and Sunnah, then you would have to look at specific books for that. For example, Ihya ul-Ulum, for example. But these definitions are important because these definitions are used in different Islamic disciplines, especially Usul al-Fiqh, for example. Okay. So Imam Sayyid Sharif Jurjani defines knowledge through al-i'tiqad. So Imam Sayyid Sharif Jurjani's definition has 1, 2, 3 ingredients or elements. So let us just revise the definition. Revise meaning go through it again, because we have already covered it before. So let's do it. So according to Imam Sayyid Sharif Jurjani's definition, al-ilmu, that is knowledge, so this is a term, a specific term, and this definition is conventional, obviously. Although some might claim that's a real definition, but it's not. So Imam Sharif Jurjani here defines knowledge as a belief. That's the first thing. I mean, roughly, i'tiqad can be translated as belief. But al-jazim, not any belief, but a certain and firm belief. More like firm. Certainty is a form of jazm, but here he means a firm belief. But not any firm belief, a firm belief which end up corresponding to the reality. So here it is sort of correspondence theory of knowledge. This side is the subjective side. So a subject has a belief in it, and he or she is certain about it, and then beliefs ends up in reality, corresponding to reality. So the reality is as your belief was. So in that case, it would be knowledge. So there are these one, so firm belief, but so there are two ingredients, or if you want to divide this into 1 and 2 and 3, that would be 3. So the first element is from the subject side and the other element is from the object side. Okay, so this is Imam Al-Allama Sayyid As-Sanad Sharif Jurjani's definition in his book At-Tarifat, which is a book of definitions. And thing about this definition is it defines knowledge in terms of a belief. Okay, so knowledge is a type of belief according to this definition, according to Imam Jurjani's Sharif Jurjani's definition. Obviously, this is one of the definitions he mentions. There are other definitions he mentioned which we haven't looked at. So, knowledge is a type of belief. Not every belief is knowledge, but there are some beliefs which are knowledge. And what differentiates non-knowledge belief from knowledge belief is that knowledge beliefs are those beliefs which ultimately correspond to the reality they are talking about. So they are as the reality is as a belief assume it to be. Okay, so this now we'll look at the new definition which I have recently read. That was in one of the lectures or on Usul al-Fiqh by one of my teachers. So this second definition it has correspondence to reality bit is there, so there's no difference in that. So if there is no correspondence to reality, then that's not knowledge. And al-jazm is there, firmness is there. So if you have non-firm opinion, so that's not knowledge, according to this definition, obviously. So these are two similarities between these two definitions, but the big difference is that there's no mention of belief. So this definition is not defining al-ilm as a sub class of beliefs or subspecies of beliefs. So that's the basic difference. According to Jurjani's definition, knowledge is a belief, and then he specifies which type of belief is knowledge. But here it says it's a judgment, it's not a belief. Obviously you are ultimately going to believe it, but it's actually an active thing, judgment. And judgment is called hukm in Arabic, and it is defined as huwa isbatu amrin li amrin or nafyun. So hukm is to affirm something for something or to negate it from something. So for example, if I say the car is gray, I'm talking about the color. So this is a subject and this is a predicate. So this is a judgment. I'm making a judgment because I am affirming something for something. So I'm affirming grayness to the car. Or I can say the car is not gray. Now I am negating something from something for something. So that's what judgment is, and that's what al-hukm is. So according to this definition, knowledge is a type of judgment. Obviously, not every judgment is knowledge, but knowledge is a type of judgment. So al-ilmu huwa what was the definition? So al-ilmu huwa hukmu zahn. It's a judgment of mind. So it's a judgment of mind. So that's its subjective side or subject side. So you judge something, you make a judgment on something, that is, you affirm something for something or negate something from something, and if your judgment is, and obviously you can't make judgment without mind because judgment is a function of understanding. So that's a subject. If your judgment corresponds to reality, then it is knowledge, otherwise it is not knowledge in usulul fiqh and mantiq. So for example, if I say the specific car I'm talking about, the car is white, so this is a judgment of my mind. I use two concepts. So concepts don't provide knowledge as such, in that you have to have a judgment according to this definition. So I'm affirming something for something, and if actually in reality the car I'm referring to is white, then my judgment is knowledge, otherwise it is not. Similarly, if the car is not white and I'm saying the car is not white, then it's my judgment is knowledge as well. But if I'm saying the car is white and it's not white, or if I'm saying the car is not white and it is white, then my judgment is false and it is not knowledge. So in that sense, according to this definition, knowledge is a true judgment. So judgment, truth, and knowledge. So there is no belief. That's the main so knowledge is not a subcategory of belief, but not every type of true judgment is knowledge. Only true judgment about which you affirm. You are certain, so that's certainty is added to it. So such that you are not going to change your judgment because you are so sure about it. Only then it would be knowledge. For example, the car in front of me, and I say the car is white and I can see that, so that's a firm judgment. It doesn't and this judgment is unchangeable unless I go mad or something or lose my senses or faculties. So so it's a judgment which is certain judgment. So al-ilmu was hukmu zahn al-jazim al-mutar. So the judgment which is true and about which I am absolutely certain. So not just certain, but absolutely, not just firm, but absolutely certain. Because firmness can be divided into two types: firmness which is changeable and firmness which is unchangeable. So according to this definition, knowledge is only type of firm judgment which is unchangeable. Okay, yeah, so I think that's enough. The only, obviously we can't prefer one. I mean, these are all conventional definitions. As long as you define knowledge and use it consistently, it doesn't matter which definition you use. But the main difference is the first one define knowledge as a belief, the other one knowledge as a type of judgment, and type of belief. And what is common among these is truth, correspondence to reality. So without truth, there's no knowledge. So if something doesn't correspond to reality, so reality is the ultimate judge on your judgment. So that's what makes a knowledge. Okay, I think that's enough. We'll stop here, inshallah. I think this was useful.